What is standard deviation? In statistics, often we're trying to find out why it is that people differ from the mean. For example, why people differ in test scores. But in order to do that, we need to find out how much people differ. And the number that tells us that is standard deviation, whether everyone's score is very close to the mean or if the scores can be far apart, very different from the mean. And we work this out in 4 steps. Step 1, work out the mean. Very simple. To work out the mean, you just find out everyone's scores, add up all the scores, then divide them by the number of people. That's the mean. Step 2, you want to find out how much people differ from the mean. These are called individual deviations. Some people score above the average, some people score below the average. We want to find out how much people differ, how much each person differs from the mean. And in an ideal world, we take an average of this. But the problem is that if we add up these numbers, the positives and the negatives will cancel out. And so what we do is we take each of these individual deviations and we square them times it by itself. And that is called squared deviations. Step 3, we want to work out what is the average of these squared deviations. And so what we do is we work out what's called the sum of squares. So we take those squared deviations and we add them up. And then we divide it by the sample size minus 1. And that gives us a number called the variance. Variance is something like the average of the squared deviations. And step 4, remember we're still in squared units. We have to convert it back to original units. We take our variance and we find the square root of that. And that is our standard deviation. And so variance is just standard deviation squared. Now, the cool thing about standard deviation is that if we know the mean and we know the standard deviation and we have a normal distribution, we can use the standard deviation to find out how much people will score within particular values. This is called the empirical rule. If we have a normal distribution, then 68% of people will score within 1 standard deviation of the mean. 95% of people will score within 1.96 standard deviations of the mean, and 99.7% of people will score within 2.96 standard deviations of the mean. And so that is what we mean when we say standard deviation.